Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, to another eager Beaver broadcast. Today, we're talking about one of the all-time greatest fictional adventurers that there is. This is a man with the right kind of swagger and attitude to captivate an entire world.
Trust me.
This man's outfit is so iconic, you can tell who it is just by the silhouette alone. And also, he gets to be with Karen Allen. I mean, I know, right? The Karen Allen, the most perfect female action star in the world. Where is my Karen Allen girlfriend, huh? Was I born to roam this earth alone? It's just not fair. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're talking about Indiana Jones. But why are we talking about Indiana Jones, you might be asking? After all, he's a fictional character. He's not real. Well, let's be honest here. I'm not approaching this from any kind of a fan viewpoint. I'm strictly looking at this through a historical lens. I mean, it's not like I grew up with the guy on the movies or anything like that. I've never really consumed the media that much, you know. I don't personally consider myself a fan. I don't really consider myself that interested in it, you know. I've never really been that much into Indiana Jones. Like, it's okay, you know, but it's not like that historically riveting or anything like that, you know. It's okay. It's all right for kids. The specific lens that we're going to approach today's subject through is going to be asking the question, is Indiana Jones's outfit actually practical for the outdoors? Well, let me be extremely honest with you here. No, it's not. Not in the modern day. Now, please, relax. Don't worry. Because here's the fun bit. Indiana Jones's outfit was incredibly practical in the 1930s. So from here on, let's move the subject forward a bit and discuss 1, the historical background of this outfit, and 2, the historical basis of this character and his real-world inspirations. Come along with me on this discussion. The character of Indiana Jones actually comes from the great minds of George Lucas and Steven Spielberg. In particular, they largely formulated this character when they were on vacation together in Hawaii. The character of Indiana Jones is actually largely inspired by much of their childhood, including the Republic serials of the 1930s and 40s. Pretty fun looking there. There's also a basis in the novels of Alan Quatermain and Doc Savage as well. Pretty good choices. Inspiring. But 3 of the biggest film inspirations actually would be 1, The Secret of the Inca from 1954, starring Charlton Heston, as well as then The Greatest Show on Earth, also starring Charlton Heston. And what kind of costume do we see Charlton Heston wearing? Take a look. He's got on a fedora, and he's got a leather jacket. There's also inspiration coming from the 1943 movie, China. And what is our strapping hero Alan Ladd wearing in the movie? It's a leather jacket and a fedora. Go figure, isn't that crazy? I had no idea that was going to be the case. Not one. Secrets of the Inca and China from 1943 all really give Indiana Jones his driving character and attitude. Most of all, they give him the outfit that is now considered incredibly iconic. But there's a little more to this story too. You see, not only is the Indiana Jones character a reflection of these cool action icons from back in the 40s and 50s, he's also an incredible throwback to the style and fashion of the 1930s and 40s. What he wore was just considered everyday clothing back then. Take a look at some of these characters just as examples. So when you look at things like the fedora, the leather jacket, even his khaki shirt, and then the khaki trousers he wears, they were all extremely common in the 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s. They were everyday and easily accessible clothing for the general populace as a whole. And for any of you, those there who don't believe me, let's start the long roll call of historical figures who pretty much look like, act like, dress like, and are the real-life equivalents of Indiana Jones. This here is Colonel Percy Fawcett. He is the famed explorer and navigator of the Amazon. He's especially known for his work during the 1910s and 1920s. If you've ever seen Lost City of Zed or read the book, check him out. This handsome fella over here is Hiram Bingham III. He's best known for his 1911 exploration and discovery of Machu Picchu, the famed Inca city. He's kind of a big deal for the historical folks, so be sure to pay attention. This strapping young buck over here to my right is Charles Lindbergh. He's best remembered now for his solo flight non-stop across the Atlantic in 1927. He's another historical, really big deal. Probably want to pay attention. And this incredibly talented young woman here is Amelia Earhart. I don't even feel that we need to go over the long and storied history of this woman. The accomplishments associated with her name really speak for themselves. Look them up. And further and finally, from the late 1800s all the way up into the 1960s, khaki uniforms were practically ubiquitous across the world for all related militaries. It was an extremely popular color, so that just adds fuel to the fire there. So now that we have a historical understanding of the real-world inspirations, both through actual historical figures as well as then hopping over into the fictional characters of the day, let's take a look at Indiana Jones now through the lens of development in 1981's Raiders of the Lost Ark. The major person behind the fashion of Indiana Jones is Deborah Nadelman Landis. And yes, for those of you who are familiar with the last name Landis, yes, she's married to that Landis. Hi, John. Deborah played a huge role, a major role, in creating this man's iconic look. Further, she developed a lot of the clothing that we're familiar with for Harrison Ford's character of Indiana Jones, almost entirely by herself. This is an extremely talented woman, so take notes. Let's go a little deeper now and just take a look at some of the own quotations noted about her from a 2023 interview. Now, this is in reference to a conversation that Deborah had with Steven. The quote begins, "Now, Indiana Jones really is Harry Steele. That's Charlton Heston's character in Secrets of the Inca. He is not a nice guy. He's actually a treasure hunter. But he wears a brown fedora and a leather jacket, and Steve did say that was his archetype." For the film Raiders of the Lost Ark, production would begin in early 1981, and it really has to be noted that for all the fashion that they were going for to recreate the year 1936, none of it was widely available. Therefore, so many of the outfits were entirely bespoke for this creation of a film. Now, let's take a brief look at just how bespoke some of these creations were for Indiana Jones's character. The iconic hat actually comes from the Herbert Johnson Hattery of England. However, in the early 1980s, they really weren't making fedoras because they were not popular. So Deborah instead bought a Crocodile Dundee style of hat known as the Australian, and then reshaped them from there. Harrison Ford's leather jacket also had to be custom made. Although the leather was supplied by Wested Leather Co. of Kent, England, it originally started out as an A2 bomber jacket, which was then refitted to fit the period a bit better. The satchel that Indiana Jones carries is actually a Mark VII gas mask bag from 1943, which is cool, but anachronistic, as the bag is from 1943, and the movie is set in 1936. Darn. Now excuse me, but I'm gonna pick up the pace here a little bit, because frankly some of this is just a bit boring to me. But the whip that he carries was made by David and Morgan, the greatest whip makers in the United States. The pistol we see him carry is a Smith & Wesson hand ejector II, .45 caliber. The boots he wears are Alden 405s, because Harrison Ford used to be a carpenter and liked those the best. And the shirt and pants that he wears, or khakis, were made by Noel Howard of MBA Costumiers. Wow. How fun. So, from the fedora, to the jacket, to the satchel, to the whip, and all of the khaki, Deborah played a huge part in developing that clothing and making it possible. There's also plenty of debate in the fan community and cinema community as to whether or not some of the information I provided you is entirely accurate for the development of the character. but I'm gonna give you an extremely honest answer here. I really don't care. His outfit is cool and relatively historical, so I give it a thumbs up. So now we return to today's pivotal question. Is Indiana Jones's outfit actually useful for outdoors exploration? Oh my god, no. Do not wear this in the modern day and age. That is a terrible idea. Look, the outfit is super cool. I'm not debating that for a second. Look at my outfit. Who do you think it's based off of? Next to none of this would be particularly good or useful for the likes of camping or hiking or going in the outdoors and doing any serious work nowadays. Take a look at some of these specifics here. The official Indiana Jones hat by Herbert Johnson, it's over $500, $520 American. No, don't ruin a hat like that outdoors, don't do it. The worsted leather jacket, that's over $300. Don't take a $300 jacket that's made for fashion out into the woods. And the whip. Don't get me started on the whip. Just a 6-foot whip made of kangaroo skin is over $1,000. What are you gonna do with a $1,000 whip on a day hike in the woods? Are you gonna tie knots with it? Are you gonna try and fight a bear? I mean, it's $1,000. You know, like if you wanna just like maybe tie some knots and slap people around with something relatively cheap, why not just buy a rope? They're like $1 a piece. And sadly, we have to admit that modern man has also moved forward. There are better items that breathe better, last longer, and yeah, admittedly, are kind of expensive, that you can find from most outdoor stores today. If you don't believe me, take a look at your local REI catalog. It is definitely expensive, but not like $1,000 whip and $500 fedora levels of expensive. But is the Indiana Jones outfit cool?
Oh, hell yes it is!
I mean, ladies and gentlemen, aside from inspiration from the Boy Scouts and from my own personal family background, Indiana Jones is a major part of why I dress like this half the time. It builds a big part of what any of this is around us. It shaped a major part of my love for history and the outdoors as a whole. If you want to buy these items and use them and wear them, by all means, please do. I mean, you only live once, and when you're dead, you're gone. So baby, let the good times roll. To be a little even more honest with all of you, I remember back in the distant year of 1999, yours truly was wearing his dad's work hat, running around the backyard, digging holes to China, and trying to discover lost cities of gold. So this guy is a major part of my life. The character of Indiana Jones has also inspired many more to grow up to be archaeologists, explorers, naturalists, conservationists, and all in all, lovers of the outdoors. So, as we conclude here, my final thought is this. No, the Indiana Jones outfit as a whole is probably better saved for cosplay and Halloween dress-up, but it still is an important part of our history, not only as an example of what once was in the 1920s, 30s, and 40s for explorers and men and women across the world, it's also just an iconic outfit from the movies as a whole. And yes, you will always see me in our videos, almost always, wearing khaki. So you can thank Mr. Indiana Jones for that. Ladies and gentlemen, if you liked and enjoyed this content today, please like and subscribe below. And if you didn't, please don't like and subscribe it. I'm cool with that. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Eager Beaver signing off. Have a wonderful day.